It's okay.
So, so why do you think I lost?
Why I think you lost because you said put into question your necessitarian standpoint, which you failed to refute.
Are you aware that like if this he's putting into question and it goes off the presupposition that possibilities exist, this like wouldn't apply because it goes off the presupposition of his argument.
You know, you're also presupposing with a necessitarian standpoint that possibility doesn't exist, correct?
Yes, which I would ask him to
Okay, so you already
disprove.
conceded to that. Okay, so Seb putting that in question, you being the positive to this like negative that Seb is proposing, you would be on the burden to prove, which you did not.
Okay, which no, because that's because
What do you mean no?
I was already putting in. Let me speak. So
Hmm?
what I was saying was that because Seb was going off the presupposition that possibilities don't exist. I first asked him to demonstrate the existence of his possibility that he's referring to, which he never did. Him
He never had to, since
going
he
off
never
of this
demonstrated the existence of non-possibility. It's not his burden to prove a negative;
never
it's your
said he
burden
did
to prove a positive.
that.
It's not a straw man at
I
all.
asked
It's
him,
your burden to prove a positive before he has to prove a negative. That's how the burden
no,
of
it was
proof
his
works.
burden.
It was not his
Okay,
burden.
so
You're
how the
switching the
necessity?
burden.
Let me speak.
Okay,
How
go
the
ahead.
necessitarian argument works basically is basically that it puts the burden on top of them, which would have to be it's on them to disprove, which Seb never did.
Your mic is
Yeah,
pretty bad, so I think you should like
that'd be
better.
like 100% fallacious. Like you're just switching the burden. By definition, it's switching the burden.
That is not
That
switching
is
the burden. That's me
that is
accepting
since
the
you're
argument
like putting a
and it's
burden
and
onto
give
the
and
person that they have to prove a different possibility
putting them
exists. And you're already presupposing
disprove
that. And Anthony, listen.
me presenting
What you're doing,
me
Anthony,
presenting an
Anthony,
argument
what you just agreed to,
and saying that it's
Anthony.
his burden to disprove my argument.
Okay, Anthony, buddy, what you just verbatimly said was that when you use a necessitarian standpoint or argument, then you're placing a burden onto the negation. That's not how that works. You're flipping the burden. You would have to prove that your presupposition of the possibility non-existing to be true before you switch it to the negative. That's how negative and positives work.
It's not. It's not like it's not switching it because it was never
It
on.
is. I just explained it. Please
It was
attack it.
never on because the burden was never on me to begin with.
It
So
was.
it's not shifting the burden.
It was shifting the burden. The burden was on you since you're presupposing the possibility doesn't exist, which Seb put into question.
Him putting this into question presupposes that the possibilities exist, so he can't.
Yeah, and then
So
you also like just trying to use it as justification presupposes that the possibility doesn't exist.
Okay, do you agree that
I don't want to interrupt our shit. Let's move up, Nemesis.
All right,
agree that if he has a presupposition that is not just the argument would not go through?
What'd you say? Yeah, too many people were talking over you.
Do you agree that if he has a what was I saying? That if he has a presupposition that is not justified, the argument would not go through?
Well, it would apply to both standpoints, but the negative, if it was a presupposition that wasn't proven, would still go through if the positive wasn't proven.
Seb's
no, you don't understand. You understand what I just agreed to. Buddy, you don't understand what I just said. I just said that it would work for both standpoints. Both of the presuppositions must be proven. If the positive isn't proven, then the negation will go through due to the positive not fulfilling their burden.
How would necessitarianism have to be proven?
How would this is because you're presupposing that the possibility of like a different argument or a different world doesn't exist. It's your burden to prove that.
Okay, so basically, if it's my burden to prove that, then it's not my burden to prove that because
why would it not be your burden to prove
I never made an assertion.
You did make that assumption. That's what necessitarian argument is.
I said assertion, not assumption. Again.
It's not assertion. It's a presupposition. It's not an assertion. You can't just assert something like that as objective. That's not how that works. You would have to prove it to be objective in the first place.
Okay, so it's not asserting it to be objective. It's presenting an argument
So you're agreeing that it's asserting
it
it
would
to be
objective.
objective because it's
No,
not
I'm
asserting
saying
it to be
no. Let me
objective.
speak. Let me speak.
No, that's what you just said, dude.
It's presenting an argument. It's presenting an argument, and it's up to him to disprove this argument. Putting it into question, if you can even call it that, which goes off of a presupposition that is not proven, would not go through.
Buddy, putting into a question a necessitarian standpoint, which already presupposes that the existence of a possibility that is different from what the argument is trying to entail, is to negate necessitarianism. To put that into question, that's negation. You're putting it into question now. The burden is on the necessitarian argument standpoint. You must prove the necessitarian to be objective, as it's not already objective, as the possibility
because
of
the
questioning
burden
its
was never on
existence
me.
already exists. Like, that's what
burden was
Seb
never on me to
verbatimly
begin
said, and that's what he argued.
The burden was never on me to begin with. So
It was.
how could
It
you put the
verbatimly
burden
was
you
on you when he ever
without using
questioned it.
without using a shifting burden?
It's not shifting the burden. If anything, you're shifting the burden to Seb when it's not his burden. Since he's on the negative, you're on the positive.
No, I'm asking him to disprove an argument which I
Yeah,
made.
that's shifting the burden. That's like stating a claim and then asking somebody to disprove it without any proof. That's an obvious shifting of burden. That's what you're doing.
How is that shifting the burden?
I just explained it like 5 different times.
Me presenting an argument, and the burden of proof would be for Seb to disprove.
That's not how positive and negatives work, and that's not what assertion works either.
Shifting the burden is basically just when it's on me to begin with, and then just saying, "Oh, Seb, you have to," saying, "Oh," and when he asks me to prove it, I say, "No, you." I respond to that with, "Why don't you disprove it?"
That's
it would be as a response.
Exactly what you're doing. That's like exactly what you're doing. You're asserting it to exist, and he puts that into question, and then you flip the burden around.
It was an open statement.
It wasn't an open statement. You're already presupposing that necessitarianism exists. It's not an open argument. You're presupposing that it exists and it's objective within the debate. And then Seb putting that into question would be like, placing a burden of proof on it. And then you asking him to prove it to, like, for his argument to exist would be flipping the burden.
Okay, so basically what the necessitarian argument entails doesn't entail anything other than
it does. What? It very much entails a thing. So you're just saying that the necessitarian argument doesn't like entail anything, so therefore it doesn't have an aspect, so it's not an argument. So you're just saying a random word for no reason then.
No, that's not what I said. I said
that's what you said. Verbatimly what you said.
What I said was it doesn't entail anything.
Okay, so if it doesn't entail anything, then it's no use in an argument. It means nothing. Do you know what entailment means?
You know everything entails something. Right?
It's like, yeah, everything within existence, anything that can be argued entails something. If you're saying that something doesn't entail something, it doesn't exist. Hey, yo, Infinity.
Like that word literally entails something.
Exactly. Entailment and entails something. Like, dog. How can something not entail something? Try to argue it.
It doesn't like necessarily entail anything. It's just
it does.
Wait,
verbatimly agreeing to it not entailing anything.
Wait, Cars, are you debating Anthony Banca right now?
It's like, yeah, we're discussing why I.
Oh wait, this is Anthony. What the fuck?
Yeah, this is Anthony.
Wait, Cars, are you debating him, or can I ask a question?
Anthony, are you fine with like open questions?
Not about the debate, but like in general. Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I don't have any questions.
I'm just gonna keep it as a no then.
Alright, that's fine.
Anthony, well, I have to explain to you why you're being circular right now.
Yes.
Why am I being circular?
Infinity, don't try to fucking like speak for him. Your black ass can't mask that voice. Anyways, Anthony, the reason.
Go ahead.
The reasoning why you're being circular is because I keep on giving a justification of which you keep on returning back to your initial premise. Whenever you're doing this, you're either not even like giving a proper refutation to my argument, you're just restating your premise or reaffirming. No. Listen. It does not. I literally defeated it multiple times and put into question why your argument even like is correct in the first
Yeah,
place,
which
and
goes
you
off of the-
conceded multiple times, but I don't
Goes
need to
off of
take
an
it for
unjustified
this entire thing now.
presupposition.
Okay, Raiden,
Winning
calm
already.
down. Because what? You said what?
It goes off of a unjustified presupposition. Which
Yes, so
Seb
does a
putting
necessitarian
Yeah,
in
your
the
position
like
does.
argument does.
with Seb attempting to put into question whether my necessitarian standpoint
Which places a
is
burden on you.
incorrect presupposes
Not incorrect.
the fact that not the fact, but it presupposes that possibilities exist.
Okay, yes,
Dude.
in a necessitarian
argument-
standpoint,
His
presupposes
argument
that
against
Yo,
possibility
you
doesn't
you
exist.
understand
presupposes something
what
else.
Anthony,
Presupposes something else,
Anthony,
What the fuck did I do?
buddy,
What the hell?
which would be
Anthony,
circular because
buddy,
it's
Anthony,
like
buddy,
not
listen,
circular
Anthony,
but begging the question.
Anthony, this is not begging the
It's like
question. Anyways,
intuition would be
Anthony,
assumed in it.
okay,
assumed.
Anthony, can you just define what begging the question is real quick?
When a proposition is assumed in its premise.
A proposition is assumed in a premise. Yeah, can you explain how I'm begging the question then?
I didn't say you were. I was saying Seb was.
Yeah.
How is that begging the question? He's not assuming that his premise is correct or anything. He's just putting yours into like question. That's not begging the question. So then,
is this guy?
Because it's assumed.
this guy's not real.
This
He's not real.
This guy's a troll.
This guy
Because
has
it's
to be.
assumed based off of a presupposition of like it's assumed based on a presupposition that goes against my argument.
It's not
unjustified.
assuming based on a
So it
presupposition.
wouldn't like
It's
go through.
it's questioning. He's putting the argument into question. That's how a basic negative works.
Okay, so basically you're admitting the fact that he.
I'm not admitting anything. You've already admitted that first
That
off,
is
necessitarianism doesn't entail anything, so therefore it doesn't exist.